Wow, you learn something new every day.
There's cameras. Put the horse on the camera. Yeah, voiceover, yeah.
Get lost if I'm here, you're not doing flaming voiceover. So, Becky, just explain to me what you do, because it's a massive concern. What do you do here?
Well, predominantly we train racehorses to run in races, and
Right. And with much success, or?
yeah, fair bit
Yeah,
at the
fair
moment.
bit, yeah,
yeah.
good.
Well, it's grown. We started off with only a very small number of horses, maybe 6, and that was only 7.5 years ago.
Sure.
And then now we've trained 60 odd, 65 horses all year round.
Yeah.
We're dual purpose, which means that we're not seasonal, so we keep going all year round. Through the summer we train predominantly flat horses, and through the winter we train predominantly jumps. Horses.
What is it that drives you? Because it's flipping hard work. The hours are ridiculously long.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it your love of horses? Is it what is it?
That's how it started.
What's
the
that?
love of horses. That's always been there, and it's a lifestyle. Like, you couldn't call it a job. I think it's a lifestyle for everyone that works here. It would have to be,
Sure.
every single day. They're getting up at the crack of dawn to do a job which is very, very long hours, and you'd have to really love horses to be a part of it.
So when we say very long hours, because I know what happens is that you guys, you train
Yeah.
the horses, you put them in the horse box,
Yeah.
you drive them to wherever they need to be,
Yeah,
they race,
yeah.
they're washed down, they're cleaned down, and I mean that's sometimes like 14, 16, 18, 20 hour days, isn't it?
That's right, yeah, and it's pretty relentless. During the height of the season, we're racing every single day. And they still have to be fed at 5:30 in the morning,
Sure.
and sometimes we'll be getting back, the following morning.
Yeah.
A lot of driving, a lot of long hours, but quite often it all pays off.
It all pays off
in the end.
And
yeah.
how is the lockdown and coronavirus? And
With us, we lost a couple of horses at the start because it was difficult for owners that couldn't go racing to see their horses. So they decided that it just wasn't going to be for them for this year. So a lot of them just wrote the year off completely.
Right.
The horses went out into the field, which for us was a little bit worrying because obviously if we're not training them, we're not getting paid for them, and we have to try and keep the staff on and everything. So we were lucky that we only lost a couple of horses to that. A lot of the owners just stuck with us, even though there was no chance of their horses racing, which was really good of them.
Yeah, that's good.
And yeah, we were quiet, but we formed a kind of our own little bubble here. A lot of the staff live on site. So for us, in our own little world here, it's quite hard to realise what's going on out of How Hills, especially when we weren't racing during the start of the lockdown.
Yeah. But it must have impacted you on the race course though, because there's nobody there.
It does, and we've had a really good year. We trained our first listed winner, which was like a high level, a flat winner last summer. We had a 4-timer. We sent 5 runners to the races, and 4 of them won.
Wow.
We've had a lot of good times, and there hasn't been the people there to share it with, which has been
hard, isn't it?
hard and surreal.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's kind of, that's a little problem for us, and it was nothing compared to what other people were facing.
Well, of course, but it's all relative, isn't it?
Hi, Barney.
Hello, Barney. Hello, Barney. You're a good boy, aren't you? What a lovely horse you are. Oh, a bit scratching your chin there.
A lot of them, they're mostly like this. They don't bite, and they're pretty chilled out. We've got quite a good routine here, so they get ridden out and they get some time in the field, so they're very relaxed, and they like being petted.
They're lovely.
They like treats, but we've got no treats.
I haven't got any teeth. So listen, if I could ask, this is a really hard question, because anybody that has a passion always finds it difficult to answer. What is it about horses that you absolutely love? What is it that gets you up in the morning, works all those hours, has all that stress?
I like to think I understand them, and I've probably been like that since I was quite young.
Right.
And I never thought that I'd be working with them like I am now. I always thought they'd be a bit of a hobby, And it's probably, I'm very lucky that now I get to do, it's kind of to a lot of people this, and to me now as well, it's the dream job. You're combining a hobby that I was definitely going to do with and getting paid for it as well. And
Sure.
We get a lot of horses here that have a few issues, and
Behavioural issues? Or?
Yeah, mainly.
Yeah.
And sometimes kind of man-made behavioural issues as well.
No surprise there.
Yeah, and I enjoy kind of working them out and trying to match the riders with the horse, who I think will get on and who I think will bring the best out of that horse as well.
So you're a bit of a horse whisperer. You're that communicative link
I just
between the
hope-
horse and rider, aren't
I
you?
think that I'm quite in touch with them, and at the end of the day, like they have to enjoy what they're doing.
Because if they don't perform, do they?
That's right. Yeah, happy horses win races, and we're just trying to find the key to make each one happy.
It's very lovely here, old Barney, isn't it? I haven't got a mint for you or anything like that. I'm sorry. I don't think you're supposed to. You're not supposed to feed the horses, no.
Oh, they get plenty of treats.
You get plenty of treats for him.
Yeah.
He's just great. He's so expressive, isn't he? He's fun.
Oh, he's lovely. He is lovely. He came from another yard last year, and he won first time out for us at Musselburgh, which was great.
Shows your teeth.
He probably will.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, you're gorgeous.
He likes that too, blowing on his nose.
Does he?
Yeah.
So Bex, what's this? This is the round.
Yeah, so this is our round gallop. It's just over a furlong around with a carpet and wood fibre surface on it. We use this quite a lot for warming up. When the weather's really bad, we're never held up because this gallop survives any type of weather, heavy snow, frost, rain. It's really well drained.
And do you gallop them round one way and then the other?
Yeah, so we just canter them, so just kind of steadier speeds around here, so trotting and cantering.
That's quite tight, I suppose.
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
we just go around and it teaches them just to turn and bend. Any horse that comes and has, problems holding their breath, like this is a great tool to get them going round and round, to get into a really nice rhythm with their breathing.
Holding their breath.
Yeah, so some horses will jump off and
Ah!
hold their breath, which isn't very good if they're going a long distance, because
Well, no, 'cause
they'll
then
soon run out of steam.
Well, they'll run out of steam and key lips.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing, isn't it? I'm thinking, when you work out, like there's a trainer that I use sometimes called Phil, and Phil goes, "Kingy, you've got to remember to breathe, like."
yeah.
And because you forget.
Yeah, it's hard to tell a horse that. You kind of got to make them work it out for themselves.
It's just, Barney, now don't you forget to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that work? Yeah.
Well, yeah, so this is why that gallop's really good, because if they go around it for long enough, they'll soon realise that they'll soon remember. Whereas on a straight gallop, like our other gallop, if they go on at halfway, it is possible for a horse to jump off and hold their breath all the way to the top, and then they get to the top and gasp, which isn't what we want. We want them in a nice rhythm. And
Yeah.
and it's just about teaching these younger horses, and like I mentioned before, kind of ironing out the issues from horses that can't breathe, and they may be just in a bad habit.
Sure.
Physically, they probably have nothing wrong with them, they just got into a bad habit.
Bad habit.
Yeah.
It's always a wonderful thing, isn't it? Because the spectacle of horse racing is quite remarkable, I think. It's an exhibition of extreme power.
Yeah.
It's horse power in the true sense of the word. But the nuances of what goes on behind the scenes, it's so multi-layered and so complex.
Yeah.
I've never thought before about how to teach a horse to breathe. How do you do that? Oh, well,
Yeah.
I know now.
Yeah. Well,
Quite
it's all
remarkable.
lessons for them, especially the younger ones, going into the starting stalls. It's all about how you introduce them, at a young age, how to jump out of the gates, and then for the national hunt horses, how you teach them to jump. But it's a long process, and it starts with, little poles on the floor, and then you build their confidence, build their technique, and then you see them going out onto the track and jumping hurdles and chase fences, and like the Grand National fences, all of those horses started off by, trotting over a single pole on the floor. And it's
Wow.
quite amazing how they develop into steeple chases. But
And what do you think of the Grand National? It polarises opinion somewhat, doesn't it, in terms of the size of the...
yeah, we've never had a runner in the race, but you know, we'd love to have one eventually in there. And they've made a lot of changes over the last few years to make the race as safe as possible. And I think the quality of the horses now that run in that race, you know, that they're excellent jumpers. They've got really good form. They're highly rated horses, and you know, the stats seem to be showing that there's a lot less injuries now in the race than there was 20 years ago, which is, you know, a huge step forward really for jumps racing. And obviously public perception, like we want to make the sport as safe as it is as possible, and we can only do our job at home, just make sure that those horses are correctly prepared and they're not out of their depth when they're running in any race, not just the Grand National. But you know, the staff at Aintree have made the fences a little bit lower, and it seems as though they're much safer than they used to be, which is
it's a better spectacle, I always think, because the
no
last
one
thing
wants to see horses fall.
Nobody wants to see a horse fall, because it's not. It's so jarring to your consciousness. It's like and then quite never mind the horse, about the rider as well. You know, it's like there's a beautiful animal in a human being. You know, that's not great, and it's not. And as you say, the public perception of that is brilliant. But when you see them glide over those fences, it's remarkable.
Yeah, it's a brilliant spectacle, and I think there's a lot more now kind of being done behind the scenes to show the public how well cared for these horses are. And you know, behind each horse that's running in any race, whether it be Grand National or a selling handicap at Disc, you know, there's a lad or a girl at home that's, you know, purely responsible for that horse. It's their, you know, pride and joy. And I think that's starting to get through to people now, just how well looked after horses actually are in training. You know, I see a lot of horses as you're driving up and down the motorway. They're out in fields. It's freezing cold. You know, they've got no haylage left in their in their feeder, and you know, they can be black and white cobs. They can be, you know, retired ponies that people have. You know, and then you look back at ours, and they're all tucked up and fed as much as they can possibly eat, and brushed within an inch of their life.
And washed. They just look beautiful. I have to say, they're absolutely beautiful. When I first walked into the yard, that was the main thing.
Yeah.
These animals are beautifully kept.
So well cared for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be put out, you know, as much as possible to people. And we have, you know, before COVID, we were having regular open days here, and where we could let people come that have never been to a yard before. And I think it really open their eyes as well, just to see what goes on here.
I absolutely, it's definitely. I mean, I had some idea, but it's kind of quite nice to know that it's on your doorstep. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's a good place.
Should we have a cup of coffee then?
Good idea.
That's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all I do.
Really?
Watch with coffee.
There's a lot of work involved, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of work. And
so Bex, tell me about Rainbow, and what's the form with Rainbow?
So she came over from Ireland last year, and she came over. She only has one eye. Right. She was born like that, so she's not had the sight taken away from her. She's well used to only having the one eye, but it was the first horse that I trained that only had one. So we did a bit of research on how to do things with her, got her broken in, so got her started with a rider, and she was great. And start of lockdown last year, there was she was in the field on a break, and she needed a name. So we launched a naming competition across our social media, and we got thousands and thousands of responses, and a lot of them were NHS related, COVID related. So we chose Rainbow Applause. We put a competition out, and we narrowed it down to 3 and did a vote, and everyone chose Rainbow Applause. So we named her, and then we thought, well, a lot of people have now suddenly become involved following her story. So we set up a charity racing club. So people paid their memberships. We got all their costs sponsored for a year. So any membership that people paid goes straight across to a range of charities.
Okay.
And obviously we're just starting to distribute that money out now. There you go, that's her.
That's her?
Having a squeak.
Having a squeak? Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah. She used to be really small. When she first came over from Ireland, she was tiny. And she's grown hugely.
She's full of life, man,
Yeah,
isn't she?
full of life. Because it's Monday morning, she had yesterday off, so she'll just had a couple hours in the paddock. So always on a Monday they're quite fresh. That they come on here for half an hour just to warm up,
right?
And before they get ridden, before they get tacked up. So you'll see a couple of them bouncing around because obviously it's the first time out of their boxes since Saturday. You know,
Right.
first time ridden
So
since Saturday.
they're happy to have a stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm here today to collect a cheque for who?
The Trussell Trust.
Yes.
Yeah, something which I don't know much about.
Sure.
Hopefully you can tell me a bit more about that.
Well, I can. The Trussell Trust will be enormously pleased to receive it. And they support food banks.
When you have to go without everyday things, food, hot water, heating, that's really, it's a really hard way to have to live, really. And that's devastating for most people. Start to make a lot of mistakes at work, and they suggest that I see a doctor who diagnosed me with, at that time, work-related stress.
I unfortunately took 2 TIA strokes. I did spend a time in hospital to come out to discover that I couldn't go back to my work.
Worked all my life, army, sales, when my health deteriorated with a heart condition. Then my married life deteriorated as well.
After a period of time, they decided it wouldn't be viable for me to return to that kind of work because I couldn't handle the pressure of it, so it led me into the benefit system.
We just started to struggle. Things started to get quite sort of dramatic, and things were just starting to get on top of me because I just wasn't doing what I should have been doing as a mother.
I do have a 10-year-old daughter as well, so I do try and provide for her as well, which makes it more difficult, but it's a case of trying to budget or having to go without. I think if the food bank had not been there to keep me going, I don't think I'll be here today.
No, I'm not needing the food bank anymore, but I'm glad it was there when I needed the help.
To find out that there is places there that can help you with food and other things, it's an amazing thing to have put in front of you.
It's shocking to say that in 2021 we have food banks in the UK because of the disparity of wealth, in essence, because there are professional people that are using food banks because they can't afford to sustain themselves and their families, which is a shocking state of affairs in any civilized society. So it's just great that there's this sort of support, and on behalf of the Trussell Trust, thank you so very, very much, because it's a massive help.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No, brilliant. Well, obviously we're really glad we can help, and hopefully as the summer goes on, what we've said is, in terms of the partnership, is that any prize money that Rainbow wins will also get distributed between the charities. So hopefully it can be more of an ongoing thing as well going forward.
Oh wow, that
so
would be amazing.
hopefully she turns out competitive. She's had all the right, she's showing all the right signs that she will be,
Yeah.
and she should be out soon. So that'll be really good.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, so if I put a bet on,
Yeah.
does that go to the Trussell Trust?
Well,
How
no,
does that work?
but we have been in talks with a couple of people that, with some of the betting companies, and whether
Right.
we could do a special sort of special bet on that race when she runs. That perhaps like all losing bets might be you know, you could maybe convince some of the betting companies all losing bets on the horse or on the race could be given to charity, which would be great and a
That
good
would be
way for them
amazing.
to be involved as well.
Sure.
So there's about 260 people involved with Rainbow, so 260 individuals that have all joined the club.
Thank you.
So hopefully, you know, they'll probably all be having £10 on her, and if God forbid, if she doesn't win, at least maybe we might be earning some more money for the charities as well. Exactly.
Honestly, I think it's just such an amazing thing to do, and thanks Becky, and thank you to everybody here at the stables. It's remarkable.
So this is Diaz. Diaz rides her most
Hi,
days.
Diaz. What a great name.
What, my name? My name? Both of you.
Oh, both of you, actually. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Rainbow Claws and Diaz, get in. It's brilliant. Sounds like some sort of Hollywood movie. Well, hello, gorgeous. Aren't you beautiful?
She's being shy.
Are you being shy?
You're never shy. She's eating her food now. She's
She's
going to get a shock in a sec.
Are you tacking her up now?
Yeah. She normally loves the camera.
She normally does. Well, you were saying before she was a proper diva, aren't you? Apparently you were really timid, weren't you? And look what's happened now.
Diaz was never timid.
We're talking about Rainbow. Diaz there. I think I was talking about Rainbow. I think.
We get on pretty well.
We get on pretty well. Are you lovely? I bet you are.
She's really friendly.
Yeah, really friendly. Really brave too.
She's brave.
Very brave. With one eye too, like she's no bother, she'll do anything on her own or with her friends, she's no bother.
That's so good. You're a clever horse, aren't you? No snapping. You've got your bit in now. No snapping. I'm going to go and gallop. How often does she go out? What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, go on.
She goes out most days, at least 6 days a week, and then unless she does a bit of faster work, she'll have a day off
Right.
to go in the field or just have a chill day. But yeah, she's out most days. And we do either a half times at the gallop or sometimes 2 halves, which is obviously the day that she goes a little bit quicker.
Right.
But yeah, she's out most of the time.
Are you? Yeah, just gorgeous. Oh, look, she's off.
She does a bit of everything too. We have the round gallop and the straight gallop, and she likes them both.
Right.
She's really good.
And is it, yeah, she must be brave actually, because if she's running with other horses and she's got a blind side, that's a brave thing.
Yeah, she is. She's really good. Even if horses are on that side or that side, no bother to her. No bother to her at all.
And maybe, do you think there's, because you know the horse better than anybody, is there a sense, does she have an acute sense of her spatial awareness because of she's only got one eye, do you think?
I think she's really sensitive to her sound. She's always listening.
Okay. Yeah.
And she takes a lot of confidence from you as well on her.
Yeah.
So I'm always talking to her and she really does listen. But yeah, I think definitely her hearing is more heightened, which obviously would make sense.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. She's always listening to what's like going on around her. That helps.
So not only is she beautiful, but she's intelligent,
Oh, she's pretty clever.
quick. Oh man.
So it starts at the entrance where you came in off the main road.
Right.
So you can imagine like how far that goes that way. And then all the way up to over the brow of the hill.
It's
so
like a messed up playpen,
yeah,
isn't it?
this is just a long giant playpen really.
Wow.
Whole place. So yeah, no, it's great, and we harrow this twice a day just to keep it right. It's all weather, so if it's really wet, frosty, doesn't matter. Yeah, you can get them out. But it's really good. It's a sand and carpet fibre mix.
Sand and carpet fibre.
Yeah.
So somebody does that as a job.
Yeah, shreds carpets.
Yeah,
for us.
well, there you go. I never knew, would you? You know.
So
Oh, here she is.
here she is. Like I say, Monday we just tend to go a bit steadier because they've had the Sunday off. So she just has a nice steady canter up. There, she's gorgeous.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice.
Oh,
But
she's beautiful, man.
you know, for a horse it's not raced, you know, just for her to come up here on her own like that, you know, it's pretty good. You know, normally they'd be in a string, and as we were obviously late on in the morning today, she's just gone out on her own and she doesn't mind. She just does her own thing.
She just does her own thing.
Her and Diaz, off they go. Yeah.
That's just, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
So she'll come up the hill.
Yeah, and then she
just
comes back down
quite easily,
yeah,
just trotting.
Trotting and walking.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they only kind of a canter up the hill, really.
You know what's beautiful about their movement is that it's just, you can see every single muscle and tissue and.
Yeah. Well, she's fit now, so it's obviously it's obvious on her. You know,
Sure.
she's got her spring coat, so she's gleaming, and you can, like you say, you can see every muscle on her.
Absolutely.
She's not too far off a run, and she's got a lovely action as well. You know, she probably want nice ground.
And it's kind of like that dressage. She has that kind of.
She's got a bit of a strut about
yeah,
her.
she's got a
yeah. I mean, I call it like a bit of presence, and she's always had that. You know, she's always been a bit of a show off.
She's perfect.
Definitely much more so now, I think.
Look at that smile on your face, Diaz. She is a good girl.
We're just saying, you know, like for horses it's not ran, like to come up here on their own like that, you know, it's never a problem.
She's beautiful. Oh.
She will be dead friendly. Ooh, there.
She's like, I don't usually stand here.
Why am I standing here?
Good
She's
girl.
beautiful. Well, thank you, darling. Thank you. Well, you're just wonderful. You've got a massive fan here, I tell you.
Oh, that's lovely.
You're gorgeous. You're a gorgeous girl. Diaz, thank you so very much.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for
Coming
thank you for all you're doing for the Trussell Trust. It's
No,
wonderful.
it's brilliant. We're really happy to be involved in. Like I say, hopefully she can continue to earn some more money for the charities through the summer with the prize money.
Be fab.